Hey guys, again, for all of you watching, I hope you're having a phenomenal day so far. I wanted to take a few other minutes to cover the second part of how we as a company arrive at our cash offers, which, like I mentioned before, is something that often comes up with working with our clients. In the first part, I covered how it is that we look at a property that we're looking to flip, that we're looking to put money into and then sell in the open market once it is fixed up. And now I want to do the breakdown of how we analyze a property that we're looking to purchase and rent out. So again, for simplicity's sake and to make things easy to follow, I went with some easy numbers. In this case, for rent, we're looking at a property that would theoretically rent for $1,000. This is what the property would bring in a month. And here we have the expenses that this property would incur. From these expenses, usually the highest one is taxes. So for a property that's usually renting for $1,000, we're looking at about $160 a month that has to go towards taxes. Next is insurance. Again, for a property of this caliber, we're looking usually at around $85 a month that goes towards insurance. Next is property management. So here, property management, or PM, is the company that handles the property for you. They take all the calls from the tenants, they help you lease the property, and they send maintenance people if there's a toilet clogged or if there's a door that needs to be repaired, etc. In Indianapolis and in a lot of markets, you're typically seeing 10% of the monthly income from the property. So if the property rents for $1,000, then the property management expense a month is going to be $100. Next is maintenance. So as we all know, things break down and go wrong around the house, and from time to time have to be repaired or fixed. And typically we're seeing that a month we're having to spend about $75 for this type of home in maintenance fees and maintenance costs. And lastly is vacancy. So vacancy here refers to people moving out of the property. Things in life change. Sometimes you look to move to another city, there's a job transfer, or you want to have a family and you need a bigger place, and so you have to move out of the property. On average, we're seeing about 1 month out of the year that properties go vacant. And so if you divide $1,000 times 12 months of the year, that accounts for $83 per month. And in this case, 1 month is $83 of vacancy expense. So, just like I did in the other video, I wanted to move things over so you could see and follow the numbers closely. If we take the rental amount of $1,000, which is here, and subtract all the expenses that add up to $503, we get a final number of $497. That's how much this property would make someone at $1,000 rent a month. From there, we take it times 12 months of the year to get the amount that the property makes every single year. In this case, of course, it's $5,964 that this particular property would bring in. Now, when it comes to real estate rentals, these are looked at much like a stock would be looked at. So there are risky stock and there are stock that are safer. Usually with riskier stock, you look for a higher return than you would for a stock that's relatively safe, which usually gives you a much lower return. Real estate is very, very similar. For properties that are more risky, we typically expect a higher return. And for properties that are less risky, we typically see a lower return as well. In this case, for this type of property, we're usually looking at about a 10% return on this investment. Now, what does that mean and how does this get us to a final offer price? Well, what we do is we take our yearly income of $5,964 and we divide it by 10% or 0.1. Essentially, all you have to do is move a couple decimal places over to get to the desired number, which in this case, if you move it over here, it gives you $59,640. This is the budget that we have to work with in order to buy the property at a 10% return at $1,000 a month. So from here, there's a couple of the things that we have to consider. Once we know how much we can work with as far as numbers are concerned, we have to look at the property and see what other expenses are still left. Perhaps the property is going to require some repairs to get it up to speed and to get it rented. This might include some landscaping, some paint, some carpet, some flooring, those types of things to be able to get a tenant into that property and rent it at the amount that we're looking to rent it for. In that, we also include the closing costs, which, like I mentioned in the other video, is something that we pay for when we buy the property from you, but we do account for it. So here in $10,000, this is accounting, again, theoretically, for repairs around the home prior to it being rented, as well as closing costs that we have to incur when we purchase the property. Lastly, we do look to make a profit to cover all our expenses and our overhead for the company, and we usually account for about $5,000 in profit for a property like this. So what does that leave us with? We get a final number of $44,640, which is the cash offer that we'd be able to make for this type of property. And essentially, these numbers, although they're going to be different depending on the home, they're ran the exact same way. So if the property rents for $750 instead of $1,000, or if it rents for $1,500 instead of $1,000, everything else is ran the exact same way. Although these might vary, they still get us to a final cash offer for the property that we're looking to purchase. Like I mentioned, in this case, this is a scenario for rental properties. If you'd like, you can go and check out the other video where we analyze how we would pay for a property if it was a flip. As I mentioned before as well, hopefully this has been informative and helpful. And if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to reach us out online or via phone. Again, thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you soon.